I love it.
We're live. What's
We are
going
back.
on? Yes, we are. It's another Tuesday. How you doing, Facebook? How you doing, YouTube? What's happening over there? I
Hopefully all
t-
is well since winter break has officially started at my house. What about yours?
Listen. Let me tell you. We just got out today, and it was a half day. But mentally, I have been on break since last Friday.
Mm.
Um, and because of that, energetically, these past 2 days, people are like, "Oh, Miss Wilson, how are you? You look refreshed. You look like you have this glow that none of us feel. Like, what is it?" It's like, it's this mentality. That's what that is.
It is the glow of
So
winter break.
yes, yes. So officially on the record, we finished today. My school system did, and it's wonderful. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yes,
Mhm.
this week started my son's first week of winter break. Um, so all good here. The snacks have been consumed constantly. I had to set some guidelines for how much Roblox he can play in a day, but other than that, it's been good.
It has. I know mine. I did bring them some goodies, so we had like a little Christmas luncheon at the end of the day before we left, and it was great. It was good to spend time with faculty without, all the extra day-to-day stuff that we have to constantly think about. And so there was extra food, so I brought it to the boys, and they were all happy and excited about the sweets and cupcakes and things like that. So we are ready. We are ready for this break.
Nice, nice. I love it. Uh, I'm ready to just relax and chill. Thursday is my last day of work until the new year, so I am ready for that as well, for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So this is our third Tuesday talk in a row, every single week, and we've had some really good response from um, the people.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some of your favorite comments that we've gotten so far?
I really like the topics that we've discussed over the past 2 weeks, how they resonated with the people who have either watched the live or watched the replay. And so the comments that I've seen on the post, and then also some of the direct messages that I've gotten afterwards, it helps for me to know that the topics that I'm passionate in talking about resonate with the people who are watching, because that's the whole point of this, is to make that connection so we can work together to solve these challenges that we have experienced or seen firsthand experience, or just been a witness to in the world of education. So for me, that has been the highlight. What about for you?
I think I would have to say something similar. Like, I love how what we feel like uh, is important to communicate to people is something that people are agreeing that they need to hear, and they agree that it needs to be said and put out there in the world. So, I mean, like, one of my favorites was when we talked about how there's a parent perspective and there's a teacher perspective, and both sides really need to be made aware of the other so that we can all come together for the best interest of the kid.
Yeah,
So I have to say that that was a highlight for me so far.
yeah. I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Super
Yeah, I'd
important.
love to know from our viewers though, like, what has been your favorite moment or your favorite topic or your favorite part about these Tuesday talks Tiffany and I are doing to address some of these issues um, in our schools with our kids and parent to teacher. Love to see some of those in the chat. It helps us to know, to kind of know that we're bringing value to you, and it's something that you enjoy. So get those posted in the comments, and so we can see how we can get better. Yeah.
Great. We want to talk about things that
So
spark conversation. So, in talking about conversation, I thought we could kind of segue into how we became involved and invested in taking time out on our Tuesday evenings to bring this information to people. So, everybody who's ever started a business or started on a journey towards a passion project, there's been something that sparked that interest. So, do you want to share what sparked you to venture out into coaching for teen girls and mentoring teen girls?
absolutely. Um, I have to say, for me, it started in high middle grades and high school. I'll be honest, when I was in school, I really felt like I didn't fit in. I really felt like I didn't have anybody to turn to talk about how I was feeling about things at the time. I felt a lot of rejection from my peers. I was kind of like, top student, made straight A's, was decent at sports and things like that, but I never really had a connection with them. And so, even beyond that, the adults in the building, um, I didn't have anybody that I could relate to in the building. Either they were way too old, or, um, you know, culturally, the staff just wasn't diverse enough. And so, as I grew up, that kind of affected me. I kind of hid a lot of who I really was, and kind of sheltered myself and censored myself around people to make sure I was liked. Well, that didn't help. So I eventually, go to college. I go for sports medicine, and I get this assignment with one of the football teams there. And what I love most about being in that assignment were the water girls. Like, I spent more time talking to them, mentoring, coaching them without even really knowing what I was doing, to the point where I got in trouble because I talked to them too much. And they got in trouble because they were talking to me too much. And so I kind of started taking inventory of that over the years. And especially once I got into education with students in the classroom and I could spend more time with them, I just began to realize that the joy I had from teaching was pouring into the kids in that way. And so, uh, you know, seeking God's guidance in where my life should be headed and what I should be doing with it, that's where it landed. That I'm here for the teens, I'm here for the kids to help mentor and coach them.
I love that. And I think when we are walking in our purpose, you mentioned faith, we're walking in our purpose, it just flows very naturally. There's no push behind it. It's not forced. It just comes naturally. So like you said, you found yourself over there coaching, mentoring the water girls so much that you lost track of what you were actually out there on the field for. I think that speaks volumes about your passion for this area, and to have a heart and a passion to work with teen youth. That's very rare in my personal opinion, and I think super special too, because that's a challenging group to connect with, for sure.
Thanks, Dr. Tiff. Thank you. Listen, if I didn't have the grace to do it, I get it. I understand. Sometimes I'm sitting there like, why?
Yeah.
But yeah. But I love it. So what about you? How'd you get into what you do?
So for Our Words Matter, the name of the business came out of the fact that our words have a lot of power. How we say how we express our thoughts, how we talk to one another, whether it be adult to adult, adult to child, our words matter and they have an impact. And so, what I noticed in my day to day activities as a speech therapist in the public school system was that parents would either come into the building super revved up with angst and their words would spew out in a very unproductive way, or teachers would just be talking in confidence in teacher lounge about a particular student or the family, and of course, super emotionally charged, and that would come out with angst too. And so, if you meet up with somebody like that and you're talking out of emotion, you're likely going to say something you don't mean, or something that you regret, or phrase it in a way that um, probably could have been said a little bit better. So in seeing those instances and then having worked in public schools on the more affluent side of town and in schools that had most children from low socioeconomic backgrounds, I just saw the disparity between access that parents had to resources, to special education services, to intervention services, whether it be early intervention like preschool, um, tutoring services. And so I saw these parents in these meetings at schools in very affluent areas. They came in guns blazing, asking for the world. And 8 times out of 10, they got it. I mean, to the point where we were had a child requiring motion to help him regulate his emotions. And the parent brought in an advocate, and this child needs a swing put into the classroom because he cannot have access to it outside because of weather. It calms him, and they put a swing in the classroom. And I was like, wow. Not that I'm against swings, for that emotional regulation, but wow. And that was at the cost of the district. On the other side of town, I'm sitting in meetings, hearing teachers talk about, how they're trying different, interventions in the classroom to help build up reading skills, math skills, whatever. And the parent is just almost like a bystander. They're just taking the information in, not questioning anything, not asking for more. And I found myself wanting to sit on the side of the table with the parents to be like, look, you just need to ask for these things. And doors can open. But if you don't know the rules of the game, then you don't know how to play the game. So coupling the instances I saw where people are talking to each other in ways that aren't very productive, seeing that disparity between schools on different sides of town, I just really thought it was super important to first lend my skills as a parent coach to help them be advocates for their kids in the school system, help them understand what their role is in their child's education. It is not just to check the backpack at home. It is not just to say, teachers, you do the job at school and I'll do this at home. You will miss out on a lot of interventions that your child could probably benefit from if you're not asking and advocating for your child. And then on the teacher side, I feel like I could lend my skills because I did act as that almost parent liaison between families and schools in my role as a speech therapist to try to find some middle ground between what I felt was clinically appropriate, what the parent might want, what the teacher is saying needs to happen. So I felt like I had the skills to mitigate some situations that could be really tense, and talking with the teachers to say, hey, when we get in this meeting, maybe mention X, Y, and Z and leave this part out because it's not going to be helpful. It's more problem focused versus solution focused. So bringing those skills together, I felt like I could really help parents and teachers. And my focus really is on the preschoolers. I think building up parent advocacy skills and helping teachers understand that relationship between school and home is very important, begins at that ground level. And for me, that's preschool. So that is where I feel like my benefit can come into play for the parents and teachers in that field.
Yeah, I love how you saw, because again, our theme has really been playing on the two sides.
Yep.
And how the two sides are not opposing to each other, but they are actually set up to be complementary with each other, where we're all on the same team because we're all focused on what's best for the kids so that the kid can be as successful as they possibly can. And when it comes to special education specifically, there is a lack of knowledge on both sides, teacher side and parent side, because I even find myself going into special education meetings, and it's like, okay, are y'all gonna tell me what I need to be looking for? Am I supposed to come up with things that I think, because I wasn't trained in this area? I was trained when I went to school to just teach, like, the regular road kids, and anything beyond that is just, oh, I got to get special training to do gifted kids, or I got to get special training to do special education kids. So and there's no PD for regular education teachers really to go get that training. So I think what you're doing is vitally important and completely necessary in all school systems on all levels.
Oh,
thank you. Thank
always
you.
To feel like what you're passionate about, like we talked about at the top of this live, resonates with other people. And you want to be of service. I know for me, I do, and I'm sure for you as well. You want to be of service, leave this world a little bit better than when you arrived in it, and just helping out in that ripple effect, right? Like you touch one teen girl's life with your mentor and coaching, and then that can have a ripple effect with her friends that she interacts with, the way she interacts with her parents, as she gets older and into adulthood, how she handles problems or challenging situations. It has this ripple effect. And so that's what I really hope happens for the both of us, that with the work that we want to do, it has that ripple effect to have that impact that we really want to see.
For sure. And it will, because when you walk in your purpose, you know what that is, then nothing else can happen except success in that area. So yeah.
So have you seen in the work that you have done with teen girls so far, have you had feedback from them in sharing with you how your mentoring and coaching with them has helped them in not just their lives, but maybe in their discussions with friends or their interaction with peers? Have you had any girls come back? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. That kind of talk makes me emotional, but and I don't mind at all, because I love what I do, and I love my teams that I get a chance to build a relationship with and get close to. I've been teaching for over 18 years, and so I've collected a lot of daughters along the way, and even ones from my first few years that are still in contact with me, and that's such a blessing. So I have one who I consider like my adopted daughter. If I was going to be in a situation where I was going to take a child in to my house, and if you know me, you would know that that's a lot, because I did not want girls when I thought about having kids. I did not. But this one was special. And so I still talk to her today, and she will tell me about the things that I did while she was in school that I don't even remember. Like, this is how much I operate in this gifting, because they tell me how the words that I said to them, they didn't just resonate, but they remembered them later. There was one year I was coaching a cheer team at one of my schools, and it was the first year I had ever coached cheer. I never cheered. I was the basketball player. I was the athlete. But I did like stepping and stuff in college, so I kind of knew what it should look like. And me and those girls, like, I set foundation, I set standards, I set values. They were not used to it. By the end of the season, we had all come to like this common community and agreement of values and things like that. Well, I left that school the next year, but a couple of the girls reached out to me, and I was like, how's it going? And they were like, we miss you. We all wanted to quit, but then we all got together and we said, Coach V wouldn't want us to do this, so we not going to do this. And I was like, I'm not even there anymore. But like that just speaks to the type of impact that you can have on, and not just teens, that just happens to be my area of gifting, but the type of impact you can have on the people who are called to you. And if you operate in that, if you work in it like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am blessed to get feedback from my students. Like, you know how some teachers have to wait years and stuff like that. Like God
Mhm.
has graced me to get that feedback like in real time. So yeah, I love what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
So you didn't just have a ripple effect, you had a residual effect as well. Like it stuck with them even after you were outside of their immediate presence. I love that.
That part. That part. That part.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
for me, being able to talk with teachers during my dissertation research. I met with kindergarten through third grade teachers in small groups and interviewed them, and having them see similarities in their background stories as it related to the parents of kids in their classroom help
Mm-hmm.
them find that those connection points, because you can really almost take this like opposing team mindset where, I'm on the school side, you're on the family side, we do things differently, let's keep it separated like church and state, we should keep it separated. But talking with those teachers and helping them see the intersectionality between their identities and those of the parents of the kids in their classroom was really eye opening, even after the interviews were done and the research was completed and I published my dissertation. The teachers would reach out to me via email to just give me updates on how they connected with specific parents of kids in their classroom. And that to me meant a lot because it was something revealed to them more than halfway through the school year that they hadn't seen before. So
Right.
that meant a lot. And then also just helping with kids. I mean, that's my passion. I like the little ones, the ones that dig their nose and put their boogers on your table. I'll take that any day over the attitude of preteens and teenagers any day. But I love them. A kid with glasses, I'm a sucker for a preschooler with glasses. It just warms my heart. So being in the classroom with them, especially the Head Start classrooms that I was in, doing speech therapy, getting a chance to talk with the parents and letting them know, like, hey, you might want to think about asking for these services, once they're getting ready to transition to kindergarten. I think this would be very helpful. Make sure you meet with the teacher ahead of time. Bring a copy of your IEP with you. Make sure you know what the goals are. Make sure you ask specific questions. Where are their services going to be provided? How often? Who's going to be the person providing them? Those are all questions that I think sometimes parents unfortunately just feel like will fall into place. But we know, being on the school side, that school can start, the school year can begin, and not all positions have been filled. So while it is assumed that your child has a resource teacher for math or reading, or even a teacher in their classroom, we should not assume the warm body standing in the classroom might not actually be the permanent person in that position. So you need to ask questions, because when you do, I feel like it makes the school sit up and pay a little bit more attention. Not that it's getting a licensed teacher in the classroom is not a main focus for the schools, but it's challenging. Teachers are leaving the field in droves and burned out, overwhelmed, underappreciated. And so sometimes you end up with a peculiar situation in a classroom. So asking those what may seem like basic questions can be super important. So that's been really helpful to me. And I've had parents reach back out to say, thank you so much for telling me to reach out to this specific person or bring a copy of the IEP with me. That says a lot.
Yeah, I think I don't want anybody to miss this because you said bring a copy of the IEP to kindergarten, which means there was an IEP established in preschool before they actually started school. I I didn't even know that was possible. to have one set up before then. And so, and I'm in education. So I could imagine the number of parents whose kids go to preschool, go to Head Start, anywhere before kindergarten, and they're seeing some things that are concerning for them, and they don't know. So we're gonna wait till you get to school and see what they tell me. So I think that's valuable. So how can then or what do you offer from Our Words Matter? What can the people get? How can the people get help from you and your services?
Yeah, so on my website, which I'll post the link here in the comment section, I have parent coaching, a 15-minute free consultation that we can talk over the phone for me to just get an idea of what the situation is. And then I have consultation packages as well, that we can get more specific, giving you guidance specific to the situation, sharing email templates that you can just plug in names and send off because I've done all the writing for you, interpreting any test results that you've gotten from the school if it's for special education services, discussing early intervention services, so those special education interventions that can occur before a child gets into kindergarten, reviewing that with you as well. And while it might change district to district, state to state, there's federal money that goes to education programs across this country that focus specifically on early intervention. You can have a therapist, a teacher come to your home and work with your child. But you got to know how to get the ball rolling. So on the parent side, that is where I can provide that coaching. And then on the teacher side, in virtual or in-person workshops or webinars, I've worked with teachers in early literacy development. That's a huge buzzword right now, getting kids on that great path to reading and enjoying it. I've done a workshop, twice presented at a Head Start conference, and then also traveled up to Tennessee to train teachers there on early literacy, the Sound First Literacy program. So offering services like that to the schools, as well as workshops for teachers to just help them understand how to form those relationships with parents. First, the importance of it, which I hope they already know, but then also helping them understand very easy implemented ways of getting those relationships established as well. So thanks for popping that link in the chat. And so share with us about how your mentoring and coaching services can be of help and how those services can be found and secured by parents as well. Because I think that's teen girls, that's a very specific population and one that is, I think, a critical need right now for sure.
Yeah, I do think it is a critical area, teen girls and teen boys. But I do specialize in teen girls. So I have a section of my company called The King's Daughters. And this will be is a membership for teen girls, a coaching group. And out of that coaching group, I meet with them once a month on Zoom. They get a special link. It's a closed group to just them. And we talk about what it means to be the daughter of a king. We talk about who we are as an heir to the king. And we talk about who he created us to be. So we have to get to know ourselves. We have to get to know what we like and what we don't like. We have to get to know why we are made the way that we're made so that we can have that ripple effect in the world. We can go out and walk in our purpose and do what we were created to do. So I coach girls and help them find their value, their virtue, and their voice. And I do that through this membership. So the link, thank you so much. If they will click that link, it is an interest form just for me to know, which parents would be interested in something like this for their girls. They fill out the information and they'll get an email that says, I will send it to you and we can set up a consultation call after that.
I love it. Easy. Interest form, click link, fill out some information, and then you can get connected with Valerie. And, you and I discussed this offline. a lot of times people may be inclined to wait until there's a crisis to reach out for coaching, for mentors, even for advocates. Waiting until crisis time is almost behind the eight ball. So I love that you're encouraging families to get with you for coaching and mentoring before there's a situation that's dire or something that is overwhelming to the family or to the student themselves. So being not reactive but proactive is always the best. So don't wait. That would be you know, my plea to anybody watching. If you're looking for parent coaching, whether it's educational, for your teachers, if you're looking for team mentoring or coaching, don't wait until there's a situation that has occurred. Go ahead and fill your toolbox now. So when it happens, because it is likely going to be a situation that requires skills that can be learned through either one of our services. So when it happens, your toolbox is already full and you can just pull from that instead of being in that challenging situation and seeking out the tools simultaneously. So that would be my plea for everybody to be on that proactive side.
I completely agree. And that's been a theme for us over these past 3 weeks, Tiffany, is get on the front end of it. I promise, we promise. We've lived it. I know other people have lived it. If you get in on the front end, it doesn't change the trouble or the issue that you're going to have. But what it does do is it makes it just a little bit smoother to get through.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I love it. So we've been here on Facebook Live for 3 Tuesdays in a row. We have enjoyed it. We have enjoyed the comments that we have received on the live feed, on the replay, in the DM. So we are going to continue this into the new year. Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook Live. And you want to share what are some of the topics that we are considering for our upcoming lives? I know we talked about special education, how to get services for your kid, when to seek those special education services, what that means. I've heard some parents say, if I get special ed, it's on my kid's record for life and they'll be treated differently. We can dive into that. I have a whole list of opinions on that. So that's one of the topics I know we talked about. What's something else for our upcoming?
We talked about teacher burnout halfway through the school year and what that is like and why that happens. And it's not just teacher burnout, it is student burnout as well. So we definitely want to hit that for the top of the year.
Definitely. And then we also discussed, low expectations for student achievement versus state standards, teacher training, the need for that. I know you talked about the social emotional impact of students' life, looking at behavior in the classroom and digging a little bit further into that. So I know you definitely have background there as well.
Absolutely. When you see things on the surface, you are seeing the fruit of a deeper issue that needs to be addressed. So that's parents and teachers, both sides again. So we definitely want to talk about that. And we also want to hit on our kids and their sense of entitlement. My personal children at school, it doesn't matter what age it is, our kids are in a state where they feel entitled to what they feel like they want and that they want it. And if they don't get it, they don't know how to handle the emotions that come from it. So we definitely want to hit on that one next year as well.
For sure. So as you can see, we have some really interesting topics lined up to carry us into the new year. So I'm excited to keep this train rolling, and I hope that others are excited as well and will join us. So we will be back in the new year on Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. This year has gone so fast. I hope 2024 slows down just a little bit. So we'll be back on the second Tuesday, which is January 9th, 2024. So please be on the lookout for our schedule as we get into the new year, and we will be sure to post reminders as well. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up, Val?
I just appreciate, again, the people who have invested in what we've been doing these past 3 weeks, and I look forward to seeing it grow and seeing more happening from it.
Well, thank you to everybody who joined us tonight live, those who watched the replay. Please feel free to comment in the chat or place a comment on this live video or in the replay, or reach out to us through our respective websites and Facebook pages as well. All right. Good night.
Have a good night.